What if the most dangerous part of retirement isn't running out of money, but running out of identity, purpose, and a reason to get out of bed? And what if solving that one piece could literally protect your brain and maybe even save your life? Today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. I'm Garrett Williamson, president of Personal Edge Fitness. Thank you so much for joining me today. And before we jump in, quick reminder so you can reach us if you need anything, especially if today's topic hits home not only for you, but possibly for someone you love. You can reach out to us via phone. You can call us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also email me at garrett@personaledgefitness.com. Of course, that's our website, personaledgefitness.com. You can find us on Facebook at Personal Edge Fitness, and feel free to hit me up on X at Team PE. As always, my book project, The Lie of Age, is coming. The whole message is simple. Ability isn't determined by the number on the calendar. It's driven by fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset. And today's episode sits right at the mindset-lifestyle intersection. Let's talk about retiring successfully. Most people think retirement is mainly a math problem. How much do I need? Can I keep my lifestyle? Will inflation eat me alive like a raccoon in a trash can? Look, money matters, and there's no question about that. But I've had a front row seat for 35 years watching what happens when high-performing adults step away from the thing that gave them structure, status, relevance, and identity. And I want to say something plainly. If retirement is only a financial plan, trust me, it's not a retirement plan. It's a vacation with a cliff at the end. And the cliff is one question. When you retire, who are you going to be? This became crystal clear for me early in my Vistage experience. Now, I've spoken about this organization on my podcast before. Vistage is the world's largest CEO organization. And basically, my Vistage group is 13 business owners who help each other build their strategic plan. And one of the greatest things we have is that we have a litany of international speakers available to us to speak on all facets of life and business. Early in my Vistage experience, I was still in that go-go phase of a business. I was still growing, and the business was more or less running me more than I was running it, and I didn't know if I had really a business or I just had a job. So it was very early on, and we had a speaker come in named Patrick Ungashik. He wrote a book called Dance in the End Zone, and it's essentially an exit planning playbook for business owners. And I remember thinking, cool, this is for the older guys. I'm sure I'll pick up a few notes. By the end, I was the one sitting there thinking, why are the older guys even here? This is for me, because if you wait until you're older to make these plans, you're already late. But the line that hit me wasn't just about business mechanics. It was about identity mechanics, because he basically said, in the spirit of it, your biggest retirement threat isn't the money. It's the loss of who you are when the title goes away. And then he actually tied it to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So before we get into that, let's unpack Maslow in plain English, like we're in a gym, not in a psychology lab. Maslow's model, classic psychology framework, says humans' needs stack in layers. Here's a simple version most people recognize. Number one, physiological needs. That's basically food, water, sleep. It's the basics. Number two, safety. That equals stability, health, shelter, and predictability. Number three, love and belonging, which speaks to relationships, community, connection. Number four, esteem. This is respect, competence, achievement, or just being valued. Number five is self-actualization. That means meaning, growth, becoming what you're capable of becoming. And in modern discussions, a lot of psychologists also talk about something above that. It's called self-transcendence, service beyond yourself, contribution, legacy, being part of something bigger. Now here's the retirement punchline. When people say retirement is mainly financial, they're usually thinking about the bottom two layers, physiology and safety. But the thing that wrecks people isn't down there, it's higher up. Belonging, esteem, meaning, contribution, being needed, being relevant. And here's the key. Those needs don't disappear at 65 because you got a gold watch and a Costco sheet cake. They stay. So if your career was feeding your belonging, if your tribe was being provided by your career, it was feeding your self-esteem, your competence, and feeding your purpose, your service, and then you retire without replacing that structure, your brain doesn't experience that as freedom. Your brain experiences it as a loss. This is actually somewhat personal for me because this is where my father comes in. My dad was a physician, and there's something in many physicians, especially old school physicians, that makes retirement uniquely difficult. Because medicine isn't just a job, it's a role with extreme social gravity. Patients come in scared, confused, vulnerable. They hand authority over the thing they fear the most, their health. They hand this over to the physician. And whether we joke about it or not, there's truth in that line that physicians can feel like minor deities because patients look at them and think, save me. That feeds something deeply human. It feeds esteem, identity, purpose, and really being needed. So if someone has been the doctor for 40 years and then one day they're not, that's not just a scheduling change. It can feel like existential amputation. And if you don't replace that role with another role that feeds the same needs, you can watch the lights dim fast. This is why I say I've had an education about retirement. Now, no, I'm only 57 years old, and you know, retirement's still a ways off from me. So it seems, why do I have the experience to speak about this? Well, I've worked with people in their 40s and 50s who were at their top of their careers, the top of their industry, biggest rainmakers, the leaders, the builders. Then they move into their 60s. Well, they're still there. They're still respected. They're still relevant. And here's the pattern I've watched play out over and over. The people who retire well aren't just people who saved money. They're the people who answered the identity question before retirement. Who will I be? Who will need me? Where will I belong? What will I build, contribute, mentor, create, protect, or even grow? And the people who struggle tend to say one of two things. Statement number one, I'm never retiring. Sometimes that's passion, but a lot of times, most of the time, it's fear in a tuxedo. Statement number two, when I retire, I'm just going to golf, fish, sit around. And look, I love fun. Trust me. I love leisure. I mean, a couple of boats, live on the water. Trust me, leisure is awesome. But leisure doesn't automatically equal meaning. Leisure is dessert. And even as much as you hear me talk about there's no such thing as bad food, you can't live on cheesecake alone. A successful retirement needs joy, yes, but it also needs purpose. Purpose is, I matter. Someone benefits because I show up. I'm growing. I'm contributing. That's why the just golf plan works for about 2 months for a lot of people. Then the brain starts asking, so is this it? And this is exactly why I wanted to do this episode. I had a client recently who came to me worried about brain deterioration. He retired, then went back to work. And he's actually losing money doing it. He can afford it. But his question was, do I stay at this job purely to protect my brain? And that question sounds extreme until you understand what's underneath it. Work gave him stimulation. It gave him structure, people, responsibility, and basically relevance. And I shared with them, if you haven't identified what you're going to retire into, that other passion, that other purpose, the role that feeds belonging and esteem and meaning, then staying at work in a limited way can be a smart bridge. Because I've seen a lot of retirees do this well. They don't go back to the full grind. They compartmentalize it. They do limited scope, limited days, and it becomes fun. I call it what I call it in my world. We have a phrase here at Personal Edge. We call it celebrity trainer. I don't train full time anymore. In fact, I stepped off the floor over 3 years ago. But if I step on the floor to help someone, I'm not doing what I used to do when I was training 21 sessions a day. It's fun now. It's a role. And I've seen retirees do the same thing. Bankers, business owners, professionals who semi-retire and keep just enough of that identity nutrient to stay sharp and satisfied. Many times they will look at, what did I really enjoy doing in my career? If I could just go back and do that part of it, I could do that for forever. It would be enjoyable. And this is where they would find all those things that I mentioned earlier. They would find that purpose. I matter. Someone benefits because I show up. I'm growing. I'm contributing. Now, because we're in Alabama, there's an example that lands like a hammer, and that's Bear Bryant. After his final game, he was asked what he planned to do after retiring. And the quote that's widely repeated is, "I'll probably croak in a week." And here's the part that still gives me and other people chills. He died about 4 weeks later, on January 26th of 1983. Now, to be responsible, Bear had serious health problems. This isn't me saying retirement killed him, but it is a powerful example of something I've watched in real life. When a person loses the central mission and identity that organized their life, decline can accelerate, especially if their health is already on thin ice. Here's what the research backs up what trainers, coaches, and families have seen forever. There's a large U.S. cohort analysis using the Health and Retirement Study, adults over 50, published in JAMA Network Open. And it found that people reporting a stronger sense of life purpose had a lower risk of dying over the follow-up period. That's not motivational poster talk. That's data. Now, to be precise, it's an association. It doesn't mean purpose is a magic shield, but it supports the point people with a why tend to behave differently. They engage more. They connect more. They take care of themselves better. And those behaviors stack the deck toward longer health span. Now, a lot of people listening might say, okay, Garrett, I'm not starting a second career. Where do I find purpose? Now, this is just an example. But one of the best evidence-based answers is service. And one of the most accessible forms of service, again, just a recommendation, is volunteering. There's a longitudinal research, again using retirement age populations, finding that volunteering is linked with better cognitive outcomes over time. And major health institutions have also highlighted research suggesting volunteering in later life may help protect the brain against cognitive decline and dementia risk. And what I love is this. Even mainstream reporting right now is emphasizing that retirees who volunteer often regain structure, meaning, and well-being, because service gives you a reason to show up. Service gives you structure. Structure gives meaning. And meaning? Well, meaning feeds the brain. Hey, quick pause. If this episode is hitting home, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about, especially someone nearing retirement or already there and pretending they're fine. And remember, if you want to talk to us, give us a call at area code 251-278-3343. You can contact me, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. Personaledgefitness.com is also our website. Facebook's Personal Edge Fitness, and X, reach out to me at TeamPE. All right, back to it. People love to say, just get a hobby. And hobbies are great, but here's the problem. A hobby doesn't automatically replace what a career was providing. A career, especially at the top, delivers responsibility, challenge, community, feedback, achievement, contribution, and overall identity. A hobby that's just leisure delivers enjoyment. Enjoyment matters, but for many high achievers, enjoyment without meaning starts to feel empty. So the real target isn't just a hobby. The real target's a purpose. Purpose usually includes some combination of contribution. In other words, someone benefits. Purpose provides commitment. It matters if you show up. It provides community. People know you and expect you. It provides growth. You're still getting better. And it also provides identity. This is who you are now. And who you are matters. That's why the farm example is so perfect. That's not a hobby. Growing your own little farm, big farm, whatever, that's a mission. Here's the connection to my core message in the live age. So much of what people call aging is actually environment plus behavior plus mindset, repeated daily until it looks like destiny. When a person retires without purpose, they often move less, isolate more, challenge their brain less, sleep worse, eat worse, lose routine, lose identity, all of it. And then everyone says, well, that's what happens when you get older. Oh gosh, those puke-inducing words. No, that's what happens when the operating system changes and the person doesn't install a new mission. The brain is not just a thinking organ. It's a meaning-making organ. And when meaning collapses, the brain can pull the body down with it. All right, what do I do now? Well, here's some practical tips. Tip number 1, very important. Don't retire from something. Retire into something. If you can't finish the sentence, I'm retiring into, then you're not ready. Tip number 2, build your purpose portfolio. You don't need one perfect replacement identity. You need 3 to 5 purpose pillars. And again, just examples, but pillars like mentoring, volunteering, coaching, community leadership, teaching, writing, building a project, helping grandkids, serving on boards, whatever fits your personality and your season of life, whatever fits your passion. Tip number 3, keep one role where people genuinely need you. Not in a toxic way, in a healthy, meaningful way. If nobody would notice if you disappeared for a week, trust me, that's a warning light. Tip number 4, consider bridge work on purpose. Consulting, advising, a limited role, few days a month, enough to feed identity without rebuilding the cage you escaped. Tip number 5, keep your brain under the right load. You don't need Sudoku until your eyes bleed, but you need learning, novelty, problem solving, and people. Brains adapt to demand. Tip number 6, train like your retirement depends on it, because it does. Training improves energy, confidence, sleep, mood, and it supports cognition indirectly through better physiology and better routine. Tip number 7, rehearse the identity transition out loud. This is incredibly important. Write a new identity sentence. I'm the kind of person who, fill in the blank. Not, I used to be. We're looking for, I am. Tip number 8, watch the 3 early warning signs. Shrinking social circle, shrinking weekly schedule, shrinking physical activity. You shrink those 3 things long enough and decline often follows. Here's the headline. Retirement isn't just a financial transition. It's an identity transition. And if you don't plan the identity, your brain will treat retirement like a loss, because psychologically it is. But if you build purpose, real purpose, not just pastime, retirement can become one of the healthiest phases of life. Trust me, I've seen it for 10, 12, 15, 20-year clients who are thriving because they know who they are, who needs them, and what they're building right now. That's not luck. That's not financial. That's design. So if retirement is coming, don't just protect your money. Protect your mind by building a purpose worth waking up for. Because creating a successful retirement that keeps your brain alive and your life meaningful, well, that's just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.
Did you know only 22% of 8th graders are proficient in civics? It's a statistic that affects all our futures. But Alabama's Liberty Learning Foundation is changing the headlines. We partner with schools to go beyond the textbook, teaching civics, character, and financial literacy in a way that empowers students to make a real impact in their own communities. Help Liberty Learning Foundation build the leaders Alabama needs. Join the movement today at libertylearning.org.